Good morning to all, and today, I want to introduce you to such a distribution as Knoppix. Knoppix is a life-side distribution based on Davy. In fact, this is the same Debian, only Life is sitting with the ability to install on a hard disk, on a flash drive. Well, with such a philosophy, with its own set of software. I didn't choose this wallpaper, but in fact, it is default, but it is a little annoying. I think that I understand that everything is so simple here, in order to load everything as quickly as possible, and it actually loads very quickly. Here, in the last review, I showed the OpenSUS on the CD, which did not load right, but this environment loads instantly, just in a moment. I think that in general, even if Debbie Life is sitting even on CD, I will probably do it on purpose, and it will load just in a moment. For those who will prove to me that INSU has an ideal distribution, I do not dispute. Maybe there is an INSU on some GNOME. It will also work quickly, but what I tried to launch yesterday was darkness and horror, and talk about the fact that I have something wrong with my hands. And what should I have with my hands if it has to load? You know, I'm an ordinary consumer. I downloaded the distribution here. Even in a virtual machine, it should work. Why isn't it working? Despite the fact that he is some kind of beta there, or not beta, it is necessary to take it for fun. Just download the default 13th version and try it. Okay, let's not talk about the bad. Let's see what kind of software is available in the distribut. Well, this is IC in the Village version 21. This is such a fork of Firefox's Smear more simple. Here, we have a block, and a block of scripts at once. As an audio player, the GNOME player is so very simple. The software is relatively fresh, not very old. Well, as if we have a standard manager. PAMF terminal, I changed the font, because it looks really bad. A large bold font, in which, let's say, a lot of things merged in some places. For example, I launched a file manager. These letters they merged. I don't know why the collectors didn't pay attention to it. These things need to be paid attention to. If you can still put up with a terrible wallpaper, you can't put up with such a Gallim font in the terminal. Despite the fact that, well, it was easier to have some very simple wallpaper, some kind of blue, solid background, probably monochrome, than this something like that, I can't understand. So let's look further. Here, we have a lot of utilities in the Knoppix section. For example, you can install it on a USB flash drive. You can install it on a hard disk and use this distribution as the main one, not as an additional one. In fact, you will immediately receive a practically configured Debian without any hemorrhoids there. There is also such an interesting point here, called the install component. That is, if you can immediately install Audacity Audio Editor, Flash Player, OpenShot, and Windows fonts. That is, you tick the boxes, click OK and install. And now the process has started. What can be said about lxde? This distribution, for example, even if we don't talk about the button itself. I watched how the old Cook PC ABook on the third processor just came to life when it was installed on it. That is, we can observe a similar effect on some Pentium 2, Pentium 3, with 120, 128, 512 RAM. That is, you get a relatively modern computer in which your software is up to date. The whole thing is updated and working. You see, a couple of clicks and everything is fine. The installation process has started. So let's look further. Well, here we have it clear. The manager, the terminal. By the way, we still have a Brasera and a C player. What is it? What is console? We're not going to get in here. A browser is understandable for burning disks, but a mix with an icon. Here is a certain step. Maybe it's some kind of utility that goes Windows Maker, such as the environment or OpenStep. That is, it turns out to be a rewritten environment on GNU, which was in the NextStep operating system, from which a new Mac stand was later created, that is, the 10th Mac. If the previous versions were classic, they're called classic. Then the top 10 is purely Unix, something made there from bees, something from Next. In fact, even that's all. Most of it is just Next. There is nothing from the classics there. Let's not get away from the topic. Well, it was by the icon that I noticed that he apparently is the microphone set up here. The sound level can be added more, less. Such a simple utility is quite simple. But why? Why is there some very complicated? So well, here we have a full-fledged package of either Office, which is not bad. Imagine, in such a small side, of course, it is convenient. Without any installation, quickly, instantly, you can insert the disk and read the documents. For example, you have a broken Windows machine at work, and there, as always, they send all sorts of Mr. Pukin there who come, sit there with all sorts of screw utilities, try to set everything up there. You come like this, insert that thing, move all the necessary information to a flash drive. So you can also fully view all these documents. They really will tear their farts there, they will just go fireworks from this net there, I do not know there, anus bombs, phosphorus bombs there. It will be the same. The 13th year of the program, the 4th version, is not very old of course. You can fully view the work with documents. The weight of the distribution is 800 megabytes. Everything fits into a blank. I think that's enough. Resource consumption is very small. Now, in principle, no one uses blanks. How would it be possible to put all this on a small flash drive? If you are already completely poor and if you don't get into the Debian there, for example, Knoppix, then you will already have to build yourself some kind of distribution on some open box, very minimalistic. Well, or there is a lxde, if you are already a beggar there. And so I think that nowadays you can put such a distribution kit on some giga flash drive, and it will be a real assistant to you in anything. So let's see what else we have. And lxde has already been established, an OpenShot video editor, so let's see. Not all, apparently fonts are being put. In general, so it can't start up, the icons started it early. Please, everything works. So we can start working on the sound already, right? Look, OpenShot. It's not bad, everything is fine. The juror is being written again, there are no errors. We're turning it off, right? The OpenShot apparently has not been fully established, that it does not start. So, well, we won't touch it yet, let the whole thing be established. So, either our office is completely working normally. So the internet is clear, if you sat down, Pyjin writes that everything is established, we try to run OpenShot, launch. So well the effect. I think this tank is caused by the fact that it is in a virtual box, but it still started. Do not look at the fact that the distribution is not Russified. In fact, this distribution can be Russified all this, well, as if in just 2 packages. That is, you install this whole thing on a flash drive, install 2 additional packages, you can also add a package. This is if you use the software there, and everything will work fine for you. Everything will be in Russian, although the programs are quite simple. I think not only that, there is still an lxde. You can also play Minecraft. So it goes, there is a cheetah. This is a program for splitting a disk, probably one of the best. I don't recognize others at all. Here, we have a 4 GB hard drive that I created. We can immediately format into any format. Let's have a Windows NT, right? Great, come on, that's it. Here we have. So we want to break it down by size, right? We can change it like this. So it is. The program is really cool. There are even separate ones for Windows Vapors. There are separate live sessions in which the Linux oscillator may not run in a similar way, such as Knoppix, and repartition the hard disk. So, from it in the section table. 4. Let it be all bullshit. We won't touch it. That is, it's still a virtual hard drive. You can mock it as you like. Well, in principle, you understand, the program is really cool for you. It supports many file systems with great capabilities. So, what is the start folder of Knoppix? This apparently shows the contents of the disk. Tell me, why the hell should I put it on the desktop? Why would I want to know what's inside? I need to work. Start right away. Why not put a file manager? These cool ones revealed all the programs and all the structure. So, programs for taking screenshots. Right? Where to put it? Come on. They probably all work very well. I really like everything, except for some little things. Tell me this, why is such a distribution, which everyone calls such a nerd, can work so well, a distribution that is supposedly very willing to work through one place? So, we haven't looked here yet. It's all working. The Knoppix is working. By the way, we even have a GIMP here, a brand new GIMP. That is, you basically understood why this distribution is needed. Such an assistant on a flash drive, with a large set of software, with a starter package, through which you can break a friend's hard drive there. Let's say if the system crashed, restore files, if say you have Linux, and you have a solid disk there, as many do. Let's say you just installed everything into one root partition, did not create it, for example, there is a home partition there. Yes, you can save files, transfer, and then repartition everything, that's right. And you can Windows some kind of vapor there, not an assimilator, who shouts that Windows is steering. Although it was such bullshit, well, I do not know, at the time probably in the '84 riot. And someone says that people with straight hands and at the time probably what kind of red hat someday. When they were still mandrakes, when it was all old stuff popular, they could run everything they needed and everything worked for them. Now, in our time, when there are colorful, beautiful riots, there are incentives and everything else, and a bunch of software is launched. And there is a native one, a bunch of programs, there is even a profile, really under Vine will launch you anything. It sounds ridiculous now. This distribution will be a great helper. I'll put it on my USB stick. The speed of work, even in the emulator you can also see the difference. Well, maybe some small programs are missing. It's all nonsense. It's all really nonsense. Basically, everything on where there is an archiver, a text editor, an office, a file manager. Well, for the design, of course, a big minus. Because it would even be possible to put just some kind of the most minimalistic picture instead of this terrible wallpaper. And the view would be completely different. If you have already decided to put some ordinary icons there, although you can change them, just put some elementary, let's say, icons here. Then there would be a completely different look. Then it would be completely as if a terrible thing. I think I'll finish with that. Have a nice day.